So, hi guys, welcome to the first Blades and Bullets podcast. The first of many, I hope, and hope you continue to join us for our future events. And Sir Kayo, I think you can start us up for the first episode.
Yeah, I've been meaning to discuss a question asked a lot of times during my teachings, and they always want to know if it's better to go into the sports side or the tactical side of shooting. And I think it's a good thing to discuss right now because I'm sure Filipino martial arts would have that sports side and that tactical side as well. So let me begin by saying that, well, they are siblings, okay? They have the same parent, and that parent is marksmanship. So you have to be a good marksman first if you want to be able to become a good sport shooter. And you also have to be a good marksman if you want to be a tactical shooter. But to compare both, no, I think that's unfair for both siblings. No? See, tactical shooting and sport shooting, they're totally different entities.
Right, right. So, actually, same from FMA said. I personally started as a sports practitioner. So the sports format I joined before was called the WACAF style of play or competition, which was a 10-point must system. So, as with sports, there was a rule set I had to follow. I couldn't hit, for example, the same area twice consecutively. So if I hit you here, I'm gonna move over here, and then it's a 10-point must, continuous fighting. So I needed to show the judges dominance. How? By hitting hard, hitting convincingly, or or hitting more. So I would train that way. So with sports, you train within the rule set given to you to achieve your goal, which is to win. Combatives is the same thing, right? What is our goal? Survival. So, what can I do in order for me to survive? And with weaponry or edged, impact, or unarmed, we need to have the same attributes a sports player has: speed, power, accuracy, among others. Maybe proper distancing, correct? It's just the mindset would be slightly different and the conditions will be slightly different. But as you said, like with marksmanship, the fundamentals are the same.
They're the same. They're no different from shooting in a sports scenario or in a tactical scenario. Okay, it's different from shooting in a gunfight, because in a gunfight, like you said, there are no rules. The rule is to survive. And how do you do this? You do this by hitting your opponent and not get hit yourself. In sports shooting, well, it's mostly, I'm not saying all sports now. In practical shooting, it's mostly accuracy over time. So if you hit as accurate over the least amount of time, then you end up winning the match. Not so much for tactical shooting, because I would want to take my time, okay, entering an unknown place, okay, and then engaging my threat from wherever I am. I don't just go barge in there like I do in sport shooting.
Right.
But there are things that have to be um, there are things that have to be in place. So my four fundamentals of marksmanship. So how do I do this when I'm huffing and puffing? How do I do this when I don't know what's inside this room? How do I do this when I know that I am outnumbered?
That's what happens a lot, not just in the Filipino martial arts community, in the martial arts community. We see a lot of sports-based coaches or instructors, for example, trying to teach sports-based principles and movements to, for example, to military, to police. I'm like, why would you do that? The attributes, or not just the attributes, the mindset and the movement patterns that you are trying to teach is not in sync with their purpose. you will get them killed.
You don't want to be teaching people who won't fight with their guns, okay, how to shoot the way a sport shooter does, and vice versa.
Yes.
You get people in jail. Yeah? You get people in jail.
We don't want to be sharing things which will get people into trouble. I mean,
Of course.
diba? It's on your conscience, and if you do that, no. So, but on the other side of things, I came from sports. So when I went in the combatives aspect, I didn't need to worry about, for example, me generating power, me being accurate in hitting, being fast in the execution of the technique, because I already had it.
Depending on what you want to do for your personal training, okay, it's really two different worlds.
Yes. Two different worlds, apart from each other, but does it mean that they can work together?
Of course. Now,
Right.
I want to talk about
Yes.
that. Many different skill sets are involved. So, sport shooting is more of perfecting your marksmanship under pressure of time. And, well, gunfighting is basically, it's a fight.
Correct.
And there's probably very little marksmanship involved in a gunfight, okay?
Right,
Because
right.
you're probably outmaneuvering your opponent. You're fighting teeth and nails. So yeah, but to answer the question, yeah, a sport shooter would be easier to train to become a warrior than for a warrior to become a good sport shooter. So you need to train both.
Correct.
And you need to be able to isolate your training.
Under stress, under, pain,
Pain.
stimulus. Pain changes everything.
Of course.
So that's why when we go into combatives, we really have to inject a measure of, a bit of pain. Okay? Because your body will react differently. If, for example, you're used to padded weaponry, fully armored, and it hits you, boom, sounds strong, but you don't feel a thing, your body will not react. But take out or minimize your protective gear, for example, to the essentials. So I'll share one thing we do. It's called live stick minimal armor full contact fighting. It's headgear, bony prominences of the elbow, your hands, of course, your knees, groin cup, and that's it. Everything else is exposed.
This is exposed.
The forearm
That's
is
painful.
Yes, because now you're not just gonna go in, with bravado, and you'll be like, okay, I'm going to, choose my shots more than the quantity. It's now the quality.
Oh yes.
Diba? I will make sure if I go in, I execute a good hit and make sure he is not able to hit back. And with that, you create more. We can never simulate reality, and that's one thing we need to get into everyone's head, because they're like, oh, okay, let's reality train it. Close to reality, maybe closer, but we will never be able to 100% recreate reality. Yeah.
I would train sport shooters, of course, to get into the A zone. Okay, but you see, the A zone is just there. In real life, you want to disable the CPU, the computer. So the computer is right there. You go down the 1 line, the 2 line, and the 3 line. So for you to say, I'm going to train tactically, okay? So we have to take into consideration where you hit and how you aim.
Correct.
Okay? Because there is more of a leeway for error in combat shooting. Anywhere in the 1 line is good enough for me.
Correct.
Okay? In sport shooting, anywhere in the A zone is good for me. So your gross and your fine motor skills are going to be focused on different areas when you're sport shooting and when you're
Yes.
tactically shooting.
Agreed. And to bring it in further, in the combatives training with FMA, what you will teach, for example, civilians, civilian combatives, should not be the same with what you would teach, for example, on the other end, military combatives. Because we are not, for example, just to give you what you usually see in YouTube. Okay, civilian has a knife. Okay, he gets punched. He brings out the knife. Okay, radial nerve, artery. We go for the axillary. Okay, carotid down to femoral, the other femoral. I'm like, wow.
It's like the videos you see where someone goes to you and then you pull out your gun and you shoot right away.
Yeah.
So, see, these are all trainings that are, I'm not gonna say useless, but they're not for civilian consumption,
Right, right.
they're gonna get your students in trouble.
Correct. Like especially here in the Philippines, right? We have different laws as compared for like the U.S.
The United States, yes.
And every state and all that. Sure, for the U.S. training, for states that allow, for example, concealed carry,
The castle law, I think they
yeah.
call it
So
the castle law.
fine,
We don't have that here.
we don't have that here.
So
Correct.
why even bother?
Right.
If you feel like you're going to be threatened, why would you let him get that near? And if he's just gonna punch you, why would you draw your gun? See, so these are the kinds of trainings that have to be taken in proper context.
Yes, yes. So I think that's a whole nother topic for another
Yeah.
podcast on the appropriateness of your training.
So that is why we should never confuse the sports side and the tactical side.
Yes.
But we should train in both.
I think so. I think so. I think so because each side has
Its merits.
Its merits. Imagine mo, you get the best of both worlds.
That would make you a complete
Right.
martial artist or a complete shooter,
Shooter,
in my
Correct.
case.
So yeah, I think
we got that.
totally got what we wanted to share with everyone. And guys, if you wanna chime in on your comments and on the topic, please do. And we would like to invite you to our trainings.
We'll be having an August 5 and August 6 event, okay? August 5 will be pistol caliber carbine fundamentals. We teach people how to shoot their PCCs. And on August 6, we will be teaching people how to zero their PCCs, how to choose the zeros that will work best for the environments they will be working in. We are so excited to get you on board, okay? Our Blades and Bullets philosophy.
Nice. And with regards to that, we're also starting our regular FMA Combatives classes here at Canvas Studio Manila every Tuesday and Thursday, 7 to 9 p.m. starting August. We will launch the class at the end of July.
First session is free.
First session is free, correct? So come on in. July 27, 7 to 9 p.m. So see you there.
See you there.